It was a quiet, peaceful evening, and I had decided to treat myself to dinner at a cozy yet upscale restaurant in the heart of the city. The moment I walked in, I felt wrapped in its warmth. The soft, golden lighting gave the room a welcoming glow, highlighting the rustic, wood-paneled walls and the neatly arranged tables dressed with crisp white linens. The inviting aroma of freshly baked bread and sizzling entrees wafted through the air, making my mouth water in anticipation. Gentle music played in the background, its soothing melody blending perfectly with the quiet hum of conversation and occasional laughter. I was seated at a corner table, where I could enjoy a clear view of the room without feeling intrusive. From my spot, I watched couples sharing intimate moments, friends raising glasses in celebration, and solo diners like myself, savoring the serenity of the evening. The staff moved with a graceful efficiency, their smiles genuine as they attended to each guest. There was a sense of care in every detail, from the neatly folded napkins to the delicate floral arrangements at each table. As I sipped my water and perused the menu, I felt content, appreciating the calm yet lively energy of the restaurant. Little did I know, this tranquil evening was about to take a dramatic turn that I would never forget. Sitting just a few tables away, I couldn't help but overhear the sharp voices of a newly arrived couple, their presence commanding more attention than anyone else in the room. Intrigued, I found myself observing their behavior, unknowingly about to witness a moment that would leave everyone stunned. The peaceful atmosphere of the restaurant shifted noticeably when the doors opened, and a couple entered. They were hard to miss, dressed to impress in outfits that practically screamed designer labels. The man wore a tailored suit with gleaming cufflinks that caught the light, while the woman, draped in a sleek dress, carried a handbag that likely cost more than my monthly rent. From the moment they stepped inside, they carried themselves with an air of superiority, as though the restaurant existed solely to cater to them. Their voices were louder than necessary, drawing attention as they discussed something trivial in a tone laced with arrogance. A polite host approached them, smiling warmly, but the couple barely acknowledged him. Instead, the man waved his hand impatiently, muttering something about wanting the best table. The host, maintaining his professionalism, guided them to a prime spot near the center of the room, conveniently close enough for me to observe. As they sat down, their entitled attitude became more apparent. The woman glanced around the restaurant, her sharp eyes taking everything in with a mix of judgment and disdain. "I expected something grander," she commented, her voice dripping with criticism. When the waiter approached to introduce himself and present the menu, the man didn't even look up. Instead, he muttered a dismissive, "Just bring us the specials," while the woman gave a perfunctory nod. I felt a pang of discomfort watching their behavior. The staff remained composed, their smiles unwavering, but I could sense the subtle tension. It was clear the couple had little regard for anyone who didn't meet their lofty standards. Unbeknownst to them, and to me at the time, the night had a lesson in store that none of us would forget. Not long after the couple settled into their seats, a waiter approached their table with a warm, practiced smile. He was a middle-aged man, perhaps in his early 50s, with kind eyes and a demeanor that radiated patience and professionalism. As he introduced himself, his voice was gentle, carrying the subtle lilt of a foreign accent. "Good evening," he began politely, holding a small notepad in hand. "I will be your server tonight. May I start you with something to drink?" Before he could finish, the man at the table smirked, leaning back in his chair. "Where are you from?" he asked, his tone more mocking than curious. The waiter paused briefly, clearly caught off guard, but still polite. "I'm originally from Brazil, sir," he replied, his voice steady, but his smile faltering just slightly. The woman stifled a laugh, glancing at her partner. "Well, I hope your English is good enough to get our order right," she quipped, her words sharp and condescending. The man chuckled, adding, "Yeah, we don't want any surprises, do we?" Their laughter rang louder than it should have, drawing the attention of nearby diners. Despite their rudeness, the waiter remained composed. "I assure you, I'll do my best to provide excellent service," he said, his tone calm, but his discomfort evident in the slight tightening of his jaw. He proceeded to take their order with the same professionalism he'd shown since the beginning, writing everything down meticulously. Yet it was impossible to miss the way his hands trembled ever so slightly as he turned to leave. As I watched, my chest tightened. The couple's words had been unnecessary and cruel, and while the waiter had handled it with grace, the sting of their mockery was painfully clear. As the evening wore on, the couple's behavior only grew more unbearable. Between bites of their perfectly plated dishes, they snapped their fingers to get the waiter's attention, complained about trivial matters, and demanded immediate corrections for issues that didn't even exist. "This soup is too cold," the woman declared, pushing her bowl aside dramatically. Moments later, the man chimed in. "And this steak, overcooked? Do you even know how to run a kitchen?" Their voices carried through the restaurant, casting an uncomfortable hush over nearby tables. The waiter, ever composed, handled each complaint with patience and professionalism. He promptly replaced the soup and offered a new steak, his tone unwaveringly polite despite the couple's blatant disrespect. Yet, as I watched him move between their table and the kitchen, I could see the toll it was taking. The slight slump in his shoulders, the forced smile. By the time dessert arrived, the couple seemed smug, as though they'd successfully asserted their superiority over everyone in the room. The woman leaned back, sipping her wine with a satisfied smirk, while the man tapped his fingers impatiently on the table. When the waiter finally approached with their check, the man waved dismissively. "About time," he muttered. The woman glanced at the total and laughed lightly. "They certainly charge enough for mediocre service," she said, loud enough for others to hear. Their sense of entitlement was palpable as they reached for their wallets, fully expecting to pay and leave without so much as a thank you. Little did they know, the balance of power in the room was about to shift in a way they could never have anticipated. A lesson in humility was coming their way, and everyone, including me, would soon witness it firsthand. Just as the couple prepared to settle their bill, the waiter returned to their table. But this time, he wasn't carrying the usual check presenter. Instead, he held a thick stack of cash in his hands, neatly bundled and purposeful. Without a word, he placed the money on their table. The couple stared at it in confusion, their smug expressions replaced with uncertainty. The woman was the first to speak, her tone sharp. "What is this supposed to mean?" The waiter straightened his posture, his kind eyes meeting theirs. His voice, calm but firm, carried a weight that silenced the entire room. "This," he began, gesturing to the cash, "is to cover your bill. You won't need to pay tonight." The man scoffed, his arrogance faltering. "And why would you do that?" he asked, his voice laced with suspicion. The waiter took a deep breath before continuing. "Because I can. You see, I'm not just a waiter. I'm the owner of this restaurant." A collective gasp rippled through the room as diners turned to look, their surprise matching the couple's stunned expressions. The woman's mouth opened slightly, but no words came out. The waiter went on, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "I started as a dishwasher in this very city, working my way up while learning English and saving every penny. This restaurant is the result of years of hard work, sacrifice, and determination." He paused, looking at them both. "I know what it's like to be judged by appearances, to be treated as less. I wanted to remind you, and everyone here, that respect costs nothing but means everything." The couple sat in silence, their faces a mix of embarrassment and disbelief, as the waiter quietly walked away, leaving an unforgettable impact on everyone in the room. The room was completely still as the waiter walked away, leaving the couple frozen in their seats. Their faces, once filled with arrogance, were now pale with embarrassment. The woman avoided eye contact with anyone, fiddling nervously with her wine glass, while the man sat stiffly, his confidence utterly shattered. They didn't say a word. For the first time all evening, they were silent. The weight of the waiter's words had clearly hit them, exposing the hollowness of their pride and entitlement. They gathered their belongings slowly, the grand personas they carried earlier nowhere to be found. As I watched them quietly leave the restaurant, I couldn't help but feel a mix of emotions. There was satisfaction in seeing their egos deflated, but more than that, I felt humbled by the waiter's extraordinary grace. He had every reason to call them out publicly or respond with anger, but instead, he chose dignity and kindness to deliver a lesson that none of us would forget. It made me think about how often we judge others based on surface impressions: an accent, a uniform, a role someone plays in life. The waiter's story was a reminder of the resilience, struggles, and humanity that exist behind every person's exterior. As I left the restaurant that night, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. I promised myself to approach others with more kindness and understanding, to see people for who they are rather than what they appear to be. The waiter had transformed an ordinary evening into an unforgettable lesson. Not just for the couple, but for everyone who witnessed his act of quiet strength. It was a powerful reminder that true wealth lies not in material things, but in character and how we treat others. Thank you for watching this powerful story. If this touched your heart and reminded you of the importance of kindness and respect, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below to share how this story inspired you, or if you've ever experienced something similar. Like this video if you believe in treating everyone with dignity no matter their background. Share this story with your friends and family, because the world needs more reminders of the value of empathy. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more heartfelt stories and life lessons that will inspire and uplift you. Hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our latest videos. Your support means the world to us and helps us create even more meaningful content. Thank you for being part of this journey.